Okay, great. So I'm going to click start. So officially the event's started. And so what I'm going to do now is share the link. And so
are you muting everyone?
Yeah, good point. I think everyone, let me just
If
see.
you're on mute, I think it should be active by default.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I think it might mute people because you were muted when you came in, I think, Cassia. And if not, I can just take a look at my settings and do it from that side. All right, so now I just need the link to this. So let me get that. Let me know if either of you two already have it. Okay. Okay. Copy join info. Got it. Okay, I'm going to put it into that other chat that we have.
Test chat that is going on, right?
Where did you post that?
Me?
No, I think Deepak, you sent a message. I'm not seeing any notification for that message, so I'm just wondering if everybody got that.
I just put it in this test one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
One.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
So let's see if everybody can join.
I mean, someone's saying postpone it, but there's still 45 minutes, so.
Yeah, I have a lot of time. I mean,
yeah,
I kept it 75 minutes for that purpose only. I thought there will be definitely some hindrances. Let's see.
Yeah, you're right.
Initially, I asked for this actually. I asked for a live event, but somehow there was a pushback for live event and they said, no, go for this. Not enough people will join. Let's see.
Okay, I think we're up and running. Yeah, we've got people joining in. Sounds good.
Yeah, awesome. I'll just copy this link and let's see those people who are pinging me. I can actually send them this. By the way, Jim, do you see people there joining?
Yeah, I can see attendees. So apparently 186 at the moment.
Okay, so I think people are joining them. Okay, I'll just send everyone who personally messaged me.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks a lot, James.
Sure.
Glad I invited you for this.
No problem.
Okay, hope no one will ping me more. Okay. Looks good. We'll just give a couple of seconds for people to join. How do we see like how many people joined here? Because I can see only 3 of us here currently in the meeting. Do you have any way to see it?
Yeah, I do. So I think it's just because we as hosts, but according to the at the upper left, we can see 211 in at the moment, and I'll just message everyone separately just to check everyone's able to.
Yeah, just
okay.
one. Yeah. Can everyone hear me? That's what James is asking. Just raise your hand in the meeting if it is possible, or just message it so that we know. Awesome.
Looks like everyone's set.
I think we are good to go. Cool. Hello everyone, and I really apologize for all this hiccup that was happening. And we thought of initially like doing a live setup wherein any number of people can join, but then we thought like not maybe not more than 300 people will join. So let's go with the normal meeting. And eventually what happened, I was not able to join, right? So once or twice I was able to join, but you guys were not able to hear me. So sorry for that. I think still we have like 45 minutes. If you're okay, we'll go till another 15 minutes to make it 1 hour. Okay. So let me share my screen and I'm going to share a PowerPoint presentation. And if anybody is facing any problem in not seeing that PowerPoint presentation, let me know. Maybe James, I'm sorry, like, can you just please monitor any comment if anyone is facing any issue, any questions and all?
Sure,
I'll take
yeah, that's fine. Okay, some people just saying they can't hear. So can they hold on a second? Is it network quality potentially? If everyone could just post a comment in the chat. Just let me know if you're able to hear.
I mean, if you are facing network issue, you can just simply turn off your video or turn off incoming video also. That might also
exactly.
Help. Yeah, I can also turn off my video. So let's see if it will help.
Okay.
Okay. Any better now?
Yeah, seems fine for me. Okay. I'll just I'll resend the link out. I think we had some people joining the original one. I think that was why.
Okay. Wish I can also. Can live event be recorded? I think so. Can we, James?
Yeah, that should be fine. Let me just have a look.
Yeah. So the moment we'll start, right? So we will record it. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Okay. I think screen is blurred. Okay. So James, do you want to record it now? And then I'll get started.
Sure. Yeah, just give me 2 seconds. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Let me know whenever you are ready.
Okay. Okay, I think the recording comes through after the call, Deepak. I can't see any default settings on the screen. So if you want to get started, what I'll do is I'll just keep having a look so we don't lose any more time. And then
sure.
I'm sure that what they do is send it through afterwards, after the meeting. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, I'll just get started. So hello, everyone. Welcome. And after all the hiccups, let's get started. So this is going to be a series, not only like, So not only it is like a first part wherein we will have 5 sessions of this first series. Then we'll have the second series also where we will have another 4 to 5 sessions depending on like the interest of the people. So in the very first series that we are starting today, so this first session will be important for you to understand whether you want to continue with the rest of the series or not. Right. So maybe this will be an introductory session wherein I will talk something about Python, why you should use it and how we can use it. And then maybe from the next session onwards, we will do some hands-on coding. Something we will do today also just to gauge your interest, like if you are OK with this kind of thing or not. Another thing. The way I will go through this session, I will assume that you don't have any knowledge of Python. You have never done any kind of programming. So my assumption will be that you just use your computer and maybe you are using Excel for some time and you use a lot of web browsing. So keeping that in mind, I'll try to move this session. Now, if any point you feel that I'm going too slow or too fast, just let me know. Right. So if you are already familiar with Python, maybe it may be a little bit of slow session for you. At least first 2 sessions will be a little slow, but later on, I think you should be able to manage it. So what we will do, we will check out like why we are looking at this, right? Why we are even talking about Python. Why not I started a course like Data Science 101, straight away start with machine learning and all those algorithms, right? So what I experienced is like before doing any kind of machine learning or any kind of modeling activity or data analysis activity, today you need to have some kind of tool with you, right? Now that tool should be able to help you in reading data, writing data, manipulating data, right? So for that purpose, we need a Python language. So there are multiple languages here. So if you see this data science technology stack, and don't worry about it. So it's not that if you don't have any programming background, then you cannot learn it. It's not like that. Absolutely not like that. So let's talk about this. So what is data science? It's a combination of different things. Like, so you have some of the programming languages like Python, R, and a couple of other languages. If you're familiar with Java, you can use Java. If you write code in R, that is fine. If you write in Python, that is fine. So we call them as a languages. It is like your interaction, the way the computer reads the file and writes the file and manipulates the data. Then you have data platforms. So basically where your data is stored, whether it is stored in a text file or in some SQL server or somewhere else, right? So for most of us, like it is either stored in some CSV file or Excel file or PDF files. And in some cases, it is sitting in our SQL servers also. For us, it is like snowflakes currently. Then you have a couple of other things like, for example, ML and AI tools. So these are highly specialized libraries which you can call in Python or R or in any programming languages and then do some additional work on that, right? So there is some basic thing that you can do, which you can do with Python. But the moment we start using some of these libraries, we can actually enhance our capabilities. Then we have data exploration and visualization tool. I will say, let's forget it right now. And I will say there is one development tool here, which I would like to focus on is Jupyter Notebook. And I'll come to it like why I want to show this particular tool only, why not any other, right? So these things are good enough for us to get started, right? So now you understand why we are starting here. I want to start here so that the moment you know this, rest of the things you can easily access, you can easily learn. So why we are using Python, right? We could have started with any language like C, C++, or maybe R or Java or anything like that, SAS maybe for that matter, right? In general, if you see for data science, historically, R was the go-to language, right? People were actually looking for a lot of analysis in R, right? They were doing a lot of analysis in R, mostly statistical analysis. It was like a couple of years back. But after Python came into being, it was like an older language than R, maybe in the same range, maybe. But Python was much more versatile. It was much more diverse in terms of its application. So you can actually do a lot more with Python, while R was primarily designed to test or experiment with the statistics. So you have some data, you want to test something, you can go to R and very quickly do it. Good thing about R is the setup process is very simple. You just need to install R and one R Studio and you are done. Everything can be managed very easily. While with Python, it's a little bit tricky, not that much, but little bit tricky as against R. So that's why we can say that Python R is much easier. But because the applicability of Python, the level of depth it can reach, various kinds of things it can support, Python is much more versatile language, and that's why we are looking into it. And as an organization, Refinitiv has decided to go forward with the Python language. So it's like our go-to language. So if we have a set of 5 languages, Python is definitely one of them. It is free and open source. It runs on Windows, Mac, and Linux. Wherever you want, you can run it. It can so using Python, you can actually connect with any kind of database. You can read any kind of data file. You can manipulate it. You can actually set up a server also. You can set up a front end also. Let's say you want to create a website, right? So the backend will run on Python, and then you can do some addition. You can bring in some additional library and can set up a website also. Plus so many other things you can do. And that's why we are getting into it. Now, there are so many things in Python, but we are not going to learn all of them, at least in this part, in this 5-session series. So what we will focus on is little bit. So I will primarily focus on pandas, right? So pandas is one library which is actually for manipulating data, for reading data, writing data, adding column, dropping rows, and all those things. And maybe I'll take your input also, like what is the common thing that you do in Excel that you want to do in Python, or let's say pandas. NumPy, a lot of people will say you have to learn NumPy. NumPy is good. NumPy is like mostly array-based library again in pandas. But what I would suggest, like you focus on pandas only if you are new. Even if you are intermediate level programmer, I would say that bulk of your job will be done by pandas. Right? Then you can go to scipy. Scipy is again similar for scientific Python. We say it, but forget about it right now. Matplotlib, yes, we will use. It is for plotting graphs. So right, sometimes we want to see the graph in the in our data analysis. We want to see how things are behaving. We will cover little bit of plotlib, right? Because most of the time you have to do only basic plotting. So that's what we will cover, not in depth. Then we come to scikit-learn. Now this is our primary machine learning library. So a lot of machine learning algos are coded in scikit-learn. All you have to do is just call them and run some examples on it. So maybe I'll pick up 1 or 2 examples in 4th or 5th session using scikit-learn. So now you got a point, right? So primarily we'll be focusing on pandas in reading data and writing data, because the assumption is that you don't know any programming or any Python apart from your general data analysis thing. Maybe you are using SQL sometime, that is okay, or mostly you are doing it in Excel. So this is just the overview. All the slides are posted on Teams. I will show you the group where it is posted. In fact, the future session slides are already there. So if you feel that you don't want to attend all the session, you can simply go take a look at those slides. I will also share some cheat sheets wherein like one pager will be there and you will see bulk of the things concisely printed over there, right? So what we do basically, right? So we typically will program in Python Jupyter Notebook, right? So Jupyter Notebook is a very, very interesting interface wherein what you can do, you can write your code, you can see the output, you can save it. So it is like your notebook only. So you write your questions over there, then you write your answers over there, you write any comment, and then you can share that notebook with anyone. So that person who will take your notebook, they can also see it. So for example, when in school you had write homework notebook, classwork notebook, and you used to take notebooks from others. So for example, if you went on vacation and the school was going on, then you will come back and take borrow notebook from your we should not say colleagues now, it becomes getting a habit. What we used to call them, friends, right? If you still remember that word, right? So we used to go to our friends, ask their borrow their notebook, and we used to copy it, right? And sometimes we want to change it also if we can. So that's what we will write code on, and I will show you how. So whenever you log into a Jupyter Notebook, you will see something like this, and I will show you what are the various aspects of it. But just for the sake of reference, keep this in mind. Then what we do when you get into Jupyter Notebook, and don't worry about all the code and everything, just try to understand the overall structure, right? Overall layout. So what we do, this is like you can write your comment, you can write your code, then there will be some output also. Right, so these are the code points, then you execute it, it will tell you which code was executed in which order. So what it means, this code was executed first, then this, like that. So you can execute in any order, so there is no hard and fast rule, and you can put in all those comments and everything very nicely. So that's why we will go for Jupyter Notebook. There are other IDEs also, which is like Spider, which you can use. If somebody is familiar with RStudio, they would like Spider a lot. It is pretty much similar. So before getting into any details of programming and all, why do we need programming? Why do we need even computer? Or let's say we go back in time and focus on calculation. So in school again, we were doing a lot of calculation. We were computing, let's say when we were in primary school, we were just simply adding and subtracting. Then we start learning division, multiplication and all, right? Now, later on, we realized that hand calculation is a tedious job, right? And in school also, we were always longing for some calculator, right? So we learned calculation, so we know how 2 + 2 is 4. How does it work? But we don't want to do it like hundreds of times every day, right? So for example, if you want to compute the memory in your computer, it works some power of 2, like 2 to the power 64 or 32 or so on and so forth. You can go, and in that multiples, you will find your RAM in the computer. So for example, it will be 16 GB, 32 GB, 8 GB, all are some multiple of 2. So what we did, we started taking help of calculator in our colleges, right? But calculator has some limitation. You have to feed data, then it will give you output. right? And you can have a limitation on feeding. So for example, if you want to add 10 plus 10 into 2, then you have to feed it in that order and make sure that it is taking care of all these precedents, like where the bracket should be and all those things, and then it will give you some kind of result. So that's where computer comes into picture, and we started using Excel. Now Excel is very good tool because you can see the numbers, you can edit it, you can calculate it, you can put in formula, then you can scale it up also, right? And that's why a lot of us actually love Excel, right? And it's really a good tool. But again, there is limitation on Excel. It cannot handle vast amount of data. It cannot handle large variety of data. For example, you cannot read PDF file in Excel. You cannot read text file in Excel. Right? Maybe you can text file, but you can also connect to, let's say, database, but it's not that efficient in that, right? So that's where we move on to something else, and we are today moving on to Python, right? So now start thinking like whatever you have been doing in Excel, you have to do it in Python, or let's say pandas. And that's where we'll be moving on. So all these basic functions you can definitely do over there. I will quickly stop here. I will go to start Anaconda if you have already installed. If not, let me know, right? And in the meanwhile, if you have any question, just let me know. So all you have to do, you have to go to this website anaconda.com, and I'm sure you are able to see my screen. If not, then please ping. So just simply go here, go to the products and go to individual edition. And at the bottom, you will simply see, where did it go? Something to download. Yes, right. So download Python 3.7, whether you are on Windows or Mac or Linux, doesn't matter, and install the 64-bit. Most likely your computers must be 64-bit processor. It should be able to handle it. I would suggest strongly, unless you have a very strong region to install, do not install Python 2.7. It is end of life. Maybe the support will go in a couple of years. Maybe in next 1 or 2 years it may go. So go for Python 3.7. Don't worry about it. If you are already using Python, then maybe this session is not for you. So then you can decide your distro. But if you are doing it for first time, don't even hesitate and think. Install Python 3.7. Right? Once you install, then what will happen? You will see something like this. So Anaconda is nothing. What it does, it is a company actually. So what it does, it takes care of all the different packages in Python and tries to put them in one place, right? And as I told you, Python is open source, right? So if it is open source, what does it mean? So suppose you can write some functions which are very useful for doing a specific task, and you can say that, okay, everybody can use it. So you will say that, okay, let me make it a library in Python and simply upload it somewhere. Let's say pypy.org, which is like an open source library collection for Python packages. So you can upload it. Now I did something similar to you, but with little bit of difference. I also uploaded my package. Then later you realize that you can actually update your package to incorporate the feature I have, or maybe something new you thought. Then you will update another package. Sorry, you will update that package and reload it. And you will call it like version 1, version 2. It is possible that I might actually update it, but I choose not to. Maybe I'm lazy. I don't want to do it. It takes a lot of time. So I didn't do that. So my version is 1, yours is on 2. And somebody who was using your version 1 might see definition of some functions changed, right? So the version 2 may not work for that person. So all these dependencies and of versions and all is being taken care by Anaconda. So what it will do for you, it will try to keep your headaches to the minimum level. Unless you mess it up badly, it will help you in doing your job. So basically focusing on programming. So once you get to this page, you will see there is Jupyter Notebook and there is Spider ID also. If you want to install, you can do that. Otherwise, simply say launch. So what it will do, it is a browser based IDE. So it will simply launch a web browser, and there it will go and start a page. We will see. So Safari is open. Where did it go? Yeah. So it will start something like this, and it will say localhost something. So it does not mean that you have to be connected to internet. No, it is actually running on your local machine only, but it is running in a web browser. So web browser is also a software. So it will open some things here, like it will go into some folder which is a default folder, which was being chosen by your Anaconda. Then all you need to do is maybe go to desktop, simply, and or let me go to my work. So it is like folder I have. So I created one folder for Python. Can anybody see Python? No. Okay. So I don't know where that is. Python S1. Yes. So I created one folder here. You can create your folder, and you can see I have already pasted a code over there. If you don't do anything, right? So you can simply create new folder. And once the folder is created, you can just go in there and start a notebook. Right? I'll show you how. So let's say we are here and I am opening a new code to write. So I will say notebook open Python 3 because you've installed only Python 3. So using Anaconda, you can install actually multiple version also. So this is how it will start. So this cell, if it is like blue in color, that means you are in command mode. If you click here, it becomes green and you can type in something. Right? So I will type in import pandas as PD. I will tell you what all these things are, right? So it is now in edit mode. So you can edit something. So good. The reason I'm telling you these two things is if you go here, then you will see different kinds of shortcuts, right? People struggle with Jupyter Notebook precisely because they don't use shortcuts. So every time it's a kind of, suppose you want to insert a cell below or you want to write more code over here. So it's very easy if you remember the keyboard commands. So let's say insert is that I want to do. So cell below is command mode A. What is it? Command mode. That means in this mode. If you be here, you cannot press B. If you press, I mean, it will automatically type in the word, which is obvious. You press escape on your system and then press B. It is in blue color, right? You press B. It is this. So if you want to insert a cell above it, you press simply A, right? And simple way to run this any code is Shift Enter, right? If you don't remember it, you can simply go here and say run, cell run, right? Like this. So this is how you will actually start coding, right? So let's do very simple thing like we were talking about the calculator, and also Python is also a calculator. So suppose I want to do 2 plus 3 and do this. That will be 5. You want to do something else. Let's say 2 times 100. It will do. Let's make it little more complex. 2 to the power, let's say 5. It should be how much? 32. Sorry, it did something wrong. So let me see. Okay, so don't worry about remembering all this function. As and when you require, you can simply get them, and I'll tell you how to find them. Okay, so this is how you can actually write your code or start using Python. Now it is about not only about numbers. You can do also text processing, right? So you have, suppose you want to take an input of first name, and you say that first name is, let's say, Deepak, and then you can put in second name, or let's say whatever, let's say M, and you enter it. Now this is stored in a variable. So if you're familiar with any kind of understanding of variables, that's okay. If not, then think like this. So variable is nothing but kind of a holder. So it's like a bucket. So this bucket is filled with Deepak, and thing is, this bucket is very small. It can hold only one value at a time. It cannot hold 2 or 3 values. For that, we have something else. We'll come to that, right? So if you want to see what is second name, it will be this. So suppose I want to say like, OK, print, or let's say, don't get into print. I want to concatenate it. So all you need to do is simply write it and press tab so that automatically it is taken. You simply say second name and just simply run it. So it will combine it, right? So next time, if your name is changing here, all you need to do is change here. Let's say data, and we say science, right? So we run it again because we need to tell Python that this code has changed. This bucket has changed, and then we say this. Now you might be wondering, I want a space. So that's very simple. You just need to say plus and say space. Right, just put in like this. Whether to use single quotes or double quote doesn't matter. Most of the time you may end up using single quotes. So you use either, it doesn't matter, except in few cases. So for example, if your name already contains a quote and you want to put that in something, then you have to use double quotes, right? If your name has a double quote, you want to put it in string, use single quotes, like that. So keep it simple for now. So let's go back. Is just checking, James, do we have any questions? I'm assuming no. Okay, so then we have things that we do apart from these simple calculation on strings and numbers. What we do, we also compare, right? So we compare whether the sales is greater than revenue or not. Obviously it should be, so it should return always false. Or let's say there is a profit or not. So you will say, okay, profit less than 0, profit greater than 0, right? And maybe let's say this is region Americas or Asia, right? So these are the comparison kind of things we do both on text and on numbers. So simply all these things are also again available in Python. Let's try to see. So I'm switching between PowerPoint to my coding window now. So let me know if you cannot see it. So let's enter something else. And now let's say we are saying A equal to 10 and B equal to 20, right? And simply I want to do A plus B. So what it should return? 30, right? And if you want to see what is A, you will say A, sorry. A is 10 and B is 20. Now I want to test whether A is less than B or not. So I will say simply A is less than B. Now tell me. So it will say, okay, it is true, right? Or sometimes you will say, if it is true, do something, right? So don't worry too much about it, like getting into logic and all. What I'm trying to show is like it can do whatever we generally do in Excel, wherever you compare some situation and do something. So we say that if A is less than B, then I want to say that, let's say I want to say yes, or I want to say no, right? So what it should do? What I did wrong, anyone? So it's little bit of syntax you are trying to learn. Don't worry too much about it. It is only we are trying to say what is going on, right? So I will say print yes, else it will print no. This is what you do in Excel, right? You write a simple line and then it does everything for you. Here it is little bit different because we can do so many things. Okay. Now let's change these values. So we say that A is 50. Okay. Now if I do, what should it print? Simply no, because now A is not less than B, right? So all these relational and logical operations also you can do very simply, right? Then we move on to strings, like which is text. So we saw like how we can actually combine the strings. Another thing is, suppose you want to repeat the strings 3 times. So you can simply do a multiplication. That also I don't know when to use it, but other examples are like how you can extract some specific positions from the string. Suppose from the hello you want to extract the first position. So you will say 0. The reason being 0 because Python counts from 0. So its count doesn't start from 1. Like it is not like a natural number counting. It is whole number counting. It does like 0, 1, 2, 3, so on so forth. And we'll come to all these things. But interesting thing is you can actually slice and dice strings also very easily. Right, so you can see if you want to find a length of a string, like you I think do it in Excel also. You want to find the length of a name, you can simply say len, right? So these are the functions that you will learn on the way as and when required, I will say, right? So this is something you can do. Then comes list, right? What is list? And just try to focus on the words that I'm telling you today. Don't try to understand everything in today itself, right? These slides will be up and we will go into more detail in coming up session. So if you are talking about single variable, right? If it is a single variable, it is just a bucket, or I will say it's a mug. It can hold only as much of water, or maybe let's say it's a spoon, right? So it cannot hold more than one bite. But lists are something like big bucket, right? So you can hold multiple things over there. So we'll go back again and check it out. So here we were saying that first name can only hold one thing and second name can only hold one thing. It cannot hold more than one thing. So what we want to do, we want to create something which can hold more than one thing. So let's say we call it my list. So all you need to do is put square brackets. That is one way, or you can say equal to list. So that will also work, right? So simple ways like let's say if it will help, we'll write first name and second name. And let's say do it. Okay, I will print it also. So let's see what it is. So data and sign. So it is 2 bucket. If you want to add more, you can simply append, right? So simply add more things to it, right? Or you don't need to do first name, second name. If you want to simply create a list like this, you can simply take this value and copy it here. So that is also list, and you can add as many elements you want, right? So let me put in it like this. So now my list is this. Okay, and we will see like in upcoming session why lists are so important, right? Okay. Any questions so far?
Hey Deepak, can you hear me?
Yes, James.
So there are a few questions.
Let's take it up.
Yeah. So the first one is just quick one, and people want to know if you'll share the PowerPoint after the call. These slides that you're going through.
Absolutely. These, as I told you, like these slides are already shared on AI community, but still I will create one more group and I will share it with everyone.
Okay, great. And another one is there a library where we can check the basic codes?
Yes. That I will share.
Okay, great. Someone else has asked whether it would be possible to have interaction with other application through Python codes, such as Office 365.
Yes, you can. So as long as the software provides you a feature which we call API, we can actually connect. So API means nothing. So suppose I want to go to your home and I want to borrow a book from you, right? So first of all, I need to know that you should be able to give me a book or not, right? So if you say that I don't lend book to people, right? So that means I can't go there. So if you say that yes, you can borrow books, so then I will ask your address and come down to you. So that this process is nothing but software says that okay, you can come to me and you can take information. So that is nothing known as saying that okay, I'm open for sharing information. Second piece, I'll ask your address and I'll come down to your home. So that is also known as API. Right, so application programming interface. So API is nothing but a kind of address how you will find that book, or how will you find my address, right? You will reach my home, then you'll ask for a book. So in API, you will say, I reached your home, now give me this book. So that's how it will return. I'll try to, no, in this series, at least we won't be able to cover API. If there is a lot of interest, maybe in session 5, I'll show you 1 or 2 examples.
Okay, great. And there's another one that's come through about asking for the shortcut key that you're using to run these executions.
I have a cheat sheet I will share with you. Yes, I will show you in fact.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right, and then there's just one more from earlier on at the beginning, which was whether Python is similar to C, C++, and should we be an expert on statistics for writing Python codes on pandas?
So first of all, C, C++ and Python are altogether different programming languages. They are not similar, right? So in C, you have to almost write everything, right? In Python, a lot of things are inbuilt. So Python is much more easier language. So there are a lot of technical differences also, and this is not in scope right now, but these are 2 different languages. If you are comfortable in one, I think that is good enough for you. But if you don't know anything, learn Python. It's much easier. That is first question. There was a second part also.
Yeah. So should we be an expert on statistics for writing Python codes on pandas?
No.
Yeah.
No, you should not be, right? So if you know statistics, it is good. So for example, like whatever code we have written so far, it doesn't require any knowledge of statistics. All it requires is fundamental understanding of what you want to do. So basically you should be able to define your problem, and then you just simply need to figure out the syntax, right? So no programming experience is also required. So it doesn't mean that you have not taken C or C++ in your school. That means you cannot do programming in Python. You can simply do it starting today itself if you just spend some time with it. Right? So no such background is required. Say for example, Python can be used by accountant also. Let's say they are reading a lot of statements or balance sheet and all. They can simply write a code and they can actually read all the data in one place and just analyze it. So it does not mean they need to know the statistics. What you need to know is your business, what you want to do, and some syntax.
Got it. Sounds good. I'm not sure how many more questions you want to take right now, Deepak, or do you want to leave them till the end of the call?
OK, sure. So let's move on, right? So list you will remember, and then we have dictionaries, right? So dictionaries, the way we call it, like it is kind of a dictionary, right? The way we have earlier, we used to look up some word in dictionary and look at the meaning of that word. So why dictionaries are important? So basically it is some kind of storage mechanism. So like a bucket you have, we were talking about bucket. We can call it as a list where you can add things, remove things, so many things you can do. Now we can have dictionaries also, but dictionaries will have some additional information, right? So it will say that something like this. Let's go and see. So we created something like this, which is first name, this, and second name, signs, putting it, and we put it in the form of list. Now in list, if you see, it is just element 0, 1, 2, 3. Right? There is no variable name, right? So you cannot put your mug or spoon in this bucket, right? In the list bucket. So what you do, then we have dictionaries. So dictionaries are very simple. All you need to do is you need to have what you are looking up for. So for example, you want to look for a word, let's say laptop. Now, if you, or let's say computer, right? If you search for a computer in the dictionary, you have to go to C, then you will look for O, then you will find the page and exact computer entry, then it will show you the meaning, right? So that's how dictionary word. So what you're looking for is key. What you're looking, whatever the corresponding explanation is in dictionary, that is value. So that's a key value pair we have. So you can simply say curly braces and then write simply this. So you will say, OK, what is my first entry? You will say first name, and then you will say what is the value? The value is data, right? And then you can have multiple entries. So I will say what is the second name? So it will say second name is this, and then you will have the entry for this. So we do this, and then let's not say dict. I will say my dict, because dict is a keyword. So always try to avoid the keywords which are already reserved. So what is this? Let me print it. My dict. So it is telling you, if you ask my dict what is first name, it should give you the value data, right? So let's say I will put in here my dict and I will ask, OK, first name. OK, and hit enter. So it will give you the value data, right? If you ask for second name, similarly, it will give you this thing. Now, why it is important to use something like this? Because say earlier I was using first name as Deepak, right? And then what I said, let first name be data. So you can see these values can change over time or during the course of your programming. But the rest of the program, you want to know that whatever is the first name, I want to take that. So instead of Deepak, let's say it is James, right? And first name is James and second name is say L, right? Now I want to know what is the first name. I simply or second name. I want to use it somewhere, right? Then I need not to change my code here. I just change at one place and I can use it, right? I always have to execute the dictionary and I can use it anywhere. And this dictionary can be very long. I will show you one example wherein I have created a huge dictionary and that is actually very helpful for me. And whenever I find some new entry that is of interest to me, I add to that dictionary. So I will say that I will go here and say, OK, I want to know the age also. So I will simply add the age 30 like that. OK. So we will talk more about the dictionaries, but just to give you an example, what is the difference between list and dictionary? Now, the reason I'm talking about all these things, I mean, I could have simply shown you some program, slicing and dicing string, extract the middle string or all those things. But what is why these words are important? Because when you will go back and you will try to read something, I will share some reading material also. So when you will try to read something, these words will often occur, right? So list will occur, dict will occur, dictionary will occur, variable is the common term. Then you should be at least clear in your mind what is the difference between these things, right? Forget about all the technicalities like whether they are immutable or not, tuple and all those things. Just simply say that there is a key I want to search and then I will find the value for it. That's the simple definition of dictionary. OK, so another thing in Python it is important is how variables are stored, right? So how that bucket is actually storing something, right? We saw that A is equal to 1, 2, 3. That is nothing but a bucket having multiple variables or multiple values. So it is stored like this, right? Now, if you say that another variable should hold the same value, so you say B equal to A. So what will happen? In memory, the way computer will do, it will not create a new list. It will simply say that B is actually talking about A only and A is this. So both are actually referring to the same thing. Why this is important? If you say A dot append 4, then what should happen? A and B both will change. Let's check it out. I think this is something that we should understand because a lot of time people actually struggle with this. A equal to what was the 1, 2, 3, right? And I will print it also. So A is 1, 2, 3. You can have multiple codes in single cell also, like we did here. OK. Now we say that A dot append means you have to add and append 5. So and then let's see what is A. 1, 2, 3, 5. Now we are defining something B. Let's say B equal to A. It is not comparison. Comparison is equals, right? And we'll show you both. So sorry. So we are assigning B to A. We are saying that B is same as A. So just copy it. Don't do anything. Control C. And by writing B here, I'm doing Control V simply. Now if we check, compare B equal to A, it will return true. Because they are same. Now if I do, let's append here instead of this, sorry, 6, or let's say 10. So you can see it changed, right? So I added 10 to this particular 1, 2, 3, 5. It became 10. Now let's check out what is B. Is B equal to A? Yes, but we didn't change anything to B. I didn't even execute this code. You can see this is 40, this is 41, 38 was this. And this is precisely because B is referring to the same memory location or same bucket as A. So you pour something in bucket, right? And I am calling it bucket A, you are calling it bucket B. They are exactly same. So if something happens, my name is different, but the value is same. That's how it works. So whenever you want to create a copy of something, you have to be careful. And this a lot of time we use like let's say first name is this. Let me copy the first name here. And later on I change first name. But when I copied it after copying, I don't want to change it. So that's where it is helpful to understand. So I will want to show you a couple of cheat sheets if you're OK. We are just over time for 1 minute. If you're OK, you want to stay. I just want to show you cheat sheets and all, and then I will let you know where to go and find that information. And James, if you have any question, we can take it now. So this is sure. Done for the day.
OK, so yeah, I'm not sure how many you want to take, Deepak, but I'll just take out a few. So there's someone's asking if first of all, is Python case sensitive?
Yes, it is. So I will show you one example quickly. It is case sensitive, and I don't know why they made it. I mean, sometimes it is big pain. So you can see like A equal to A. So it should return true. Sorry. Name is not defined. Okay. String. This is true, but if I write small, then it will say false. So it is case sensitive. Yeah.
Okay, great. There's another question. So what we also had is there any kind of practice session where people can go through and test this out themselves, you know, practice
Yes.
These different exercises?
Yes, I will show you. Just in a moment, I'll show you. In fact, just after this, I'll show you. Okay, let me show you that. So I will share one file with you, which is known as exercise 1 reading data IPyNB. We haven't started it yet, but all you need to do is just go to this, click on this. It will open it here. And this is simple exercise. So I have written bulk of the code. In fact, not code. I have written simply a few important things like you have to create a data frame, and this is about pandas, so we'll come to it. And you have to create a data frame which looks like this. So you have to write your code here and execute, and it should look like this, so on and so forth. Plus, I will also give you some easy references where you can go and practice. And in the same line, so this is where our material will be stored. So if you go to Teams, you can look for this channel AI_community. Just go to General tab and go to Files here at the top, and you will see bulk of the I mean, most of the PPTs are here already, like session 1, which we are doing. These PPTs are slightly old. You will see Thomson Reuters logo on them. Just don't come to me for that. I'm updating these logos as we go forward in the series. But rest of the things you can see, like for example, the Jupyter Notebook cheat sheet. This is the very first thing that you need to get started with Jupyter Notebook. So if you look at this, you will have all possible keywords, right? Command mode, I told you. Edit mode. Edit mode when you want to write. Command is when it is blue in color. Then these are the shortcuts and everything that you can easily get. You can also search it in Jupyter also, on Jupyter as well. Any more questions, James?
Yeah, so there was one about the difference between RStudio and Python, and so can all of these codes be executed in RStudio as well?
So the fundamental difference between RStudio is just an IDE. It is nothing but what we call it as a interface, right? So it has nothing to do with Python, right? And RStudio is designed to run R code. It is doing only R code. It will run only R code, and it's a different interface. While Python is a programming language, the interface we are talking about is Jupyter Notebook. So your comparison should be Jupyter Notebook versus RStudio or Python versus R. If you so this is RStudio, right? You write your code here, then you see your output here, and all the packages and everything is here. Now, if you are very much familiar with RStudio and you simply can't live without it in Python, you don't have any RStudio for Python, first of all, so you have to go to Spider, which is almost similar to RStudio. Meanwhile, it is opening, we can take up more questions.
Sure. So another one coming through is, can you mine a large amount of data in Excel using Python automatically?
So when you say large amount of data in Excel, that means the data that you are getting is an Excel file. So yes, you can simply read it, and there is a very simple command for it, read_Excel, and we'll talk about it in next session. And I mean, ideally, if the data size is huge, right? If it is running into a couple of millions of rows, you cannot simply store it in Excel. Maybe it is in some text file. So that also we can read. So we will cover those things in the next session.
Oh, okay. So that also answers another question, because some people have been asking about the integration of Python with Excel and other database formats.
Yes, we can. Okay. Yes. So basically, any database format that you know, right? I think it can be read in Python. Okay. I don't know why it is not opening up, but yeah. So this is something which is very, very similar to RStudio.
Sure. Another recent question is, can we use any other IDE apart from Anaconda?
You can. You may not need to download Anaconda. You can simply install Python. It will be a command prompt, but I think Anaconda is much more easier, right? You can use PyCharm. You can use Atom. There are many more actually. So you can use any of them, whichever you feel comfortable.
Okay. And I think also some people want some clarity on where they should download the tool, but I think you put this in the meeting chat in the original invite. Is that right, Deepak?
That's correct. Yes. So it's very simple. Anaconda.org. You just go there. Simple. Yeah, this website. Go to the bottom and you will find the downloader. If you're, based on your operating system, you can find this file, install it. Don't go for Miniconda. You will see somebody talking about Miniconda occupies less space and all, but maybe in the beginning, just go for this one.
Okay, and is that the 64-bit version, not the 32-bit?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Ideally, your operating system should be 64-bit now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So there were a few from the beginning of the course, Deepak, but I'll send you all of these after the session in case you want to cover any remaining points.
Sure. So before we sign off, like there is one data science cheat sheet it says, and you can look at it. It is for Python. It says Python intermediate, but I think it's okay. You just go through it and you know where it is, right? So just go through it and let me know something that you don't find easy to understand or anything like that. These things will cover like list comprehension, some kind of regular expression. Some of the things are very simple, like list we saw, right? Strings s.lower, automatically it tells you that it will turn into lowercase. And all these things you can find in AI community, this page. Okay, so anybody have any burning question which you don't want to type, you simply can unmute and let me know, else we can just turn off the session.
Yeah, I don't think we actually have the full mute and unmute functionality, so they can only type in questions on this. But if you wanted to just take a couple more, some people just asking how they find the AI community on Teams.
Okay, that's interesting. So I don't know if I can search for it. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so you just go to the top search bar and type in AI community. It will come up. If it doesn't, you can also search on SharePoint, because any Teams group have an SharePoint page. So you go to files and you will see all the data here.
Okay, great. So another one is, are Anaconda and Canopy similar? Another question that came through.
No, they are different actually. So Canopy is another Anaconda kind of package manager. I used it, a couple of years back, but I think Anaconda is the leading one. So I would say that, okay, so there are so many things floating around, right? And they're open source, free to use and all. Don't worry about it, right? What is important is what you're trying to learn, right? IDEs should be the least important thing for you. What I would recommend, go for Jupyter Notebook, because if you see all the open source tutorial or free tutorial you will find on internet, bulk of them are written in Jupyter Notebook. So it's very easy for you to go find something interesting, download the data, download the code, and straight away start coding. Right now, if you see today's Jupyter Notebook, where did it go here? So if I save it now, right, I don't do anything, it is already saved. If I just close it and open it tomorrow, all the output and everything will remain as it is, right? So you can see, like, so suppose you can run your experiment. It is like an exam answer sheet also. So you can write all the answers, you can execute and send it to me. I can see, yes, you have executed. You cannot fudge it, right? Unless you are a brilliant hacker, you cannot fudge this information. So I can see, like, you did this and these are the output. Whether it is correct or not, immediately it will tell you. Right. So don't worry about all these various IDs. Just stick to one. Any one you like, it doesn't matter. So whatever you want, you just go through it. Okay, any more questions?
Yeah, I think so Deepak, I think some of these were from the very beginning and points you may have already covered. So I'll send you these through separately. Yeah, one person noted that the next one might have a clash with a session with Emily, asking if it could be rescheduled. But again, I'll leave this up to you depending on how you want to schedule these sessions going forwards.
Yeah. So what we will do, basically, we will definitely reschedule that session. Navneet brought it to my notice. I'll talk to Bharti and Rashmi how we can do it. And for next session, you'll get a separate invite, like a new invite, maybe updated one with live event link. I think we have a lot of interest. So I don't think the normal meeting session is able to hold it. So we'll do that. And big thanks to James for organizing the session today. He was really helpful.
Sure, no problem. All right. Well, Deepak, thanks again. I'll send through everything from my side that I receive in terms of the recording. If you're able to share the PowerPoint with everyone on your slides and any other content, and I'll send you through the questions as well in case you want to get back to anyone. And I think that concludes it for today.
Thanks a lot, James. Thanks everyone for joining. And
thanks,
I
everyone.
will send you update very quickly for the next session. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you.